Welcome to the final episode of Northwynd 2, the Druid True Second Life series. In this episode, I'm going to be doing Wrath of the Earth out in Barovia, which is part of the Ravenloft Chain 3, and I am level 30. This is actually going to be the only quest I do at level 30. Up to this point, between last episode and this one, I did a handful of quests to get to 30. And so at level 29, I tried some R1 solo, some legendaries, like I did Grim and Barrett, no problem. R1 Miss, no problem. Did R1 Good Intentions, no problem there. And the last one I did was R1 to Curse the Sky. And that one has special meaning to me because before the update 38 changes, I couldn't solo that. Because the Abishai in that quest, and any Abishai, are immune to, or highly resistant to, a lot of the a caster druid's native damage types. But once they made the changes in update 38, where that you can overcome mobs' immunities to like cold damage or fire damage, that allowed me to be able to solo that. And so I was really pleased with my performance in R1 to Curse the Sky solo. Was doing really well. No problems right up into the end fight, and things were going great in the end fight, and all of a sudden I died, and I wasn't even really sure why. Maybe I failed to save on a disintegrate, I'm not really sure, but I thought I was fully healed pretty much, and I was able to handle the boss and all the mobs, and all of a sudden I was dead. And I wish I had taken a closer look at what killed me, but I was close to finishing that, so I just decided to use one of the res cakes that I had from a daily roll to finish that up with no problem. It did take me 30 minutes though, so I want to be very real about about the performance, how long it took me. But it was pretty cool to be able to solo that, even though I did die in the end fight. Let's see. Let's take a look at the stats. That's what I'm looking like now at level 30. So my armor class, it's alright. 184 PRR, 136 MRR, and a decent amount of hit points for the second lifer. Sitting at 12 Reaper points, just shy of my 13th, so that's the way I have it set up, and I showed that last time. And like I said, if I was going to start, next life, I'd start spreading out my points a little bit more. I'd want to pick up like the DC here in Tier 1 and the Point of Wisdom. After that, I'd probably spend the rest over here in the Grim Barricade tree, really trying to stay focused on the defensive side. But the more and more Reaper points I get, the more and more I'd really want to focus on, especially the DCs and the Points of Wisdom. Let's take a look at the gear. So I do have some changes. First is this trinket that I recrafted to now have better resistance. I just had a resistance like +6 or 7 item or augment before. Let's see, I think the augment is still there. Yeah, it is resistance 7. And you really want to have better than that by end game. Like on Gingerspyce, I have resistance 14 through a Slave Lord's craftable. I didn't really want to spend the time crafting, try to accumulate materials to craft a Slave Lord's item on Northwynd, so I went with Caneth crafted, and resistance 12 is as high as you can get. Now this is a power level 34 shard, and I'm not high enough level to craft that. I can craft everything else for self, but those highest tier minimum level shards is minimum level 30, but they have like power level 31, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm just shy of doing those, but I was able to trade for a couple of those, and that was really helpful. And I actually went into, just in case you're not aware, every server has its own forum in the DDO forums, and every server has like a marketplace. So there's over here on Caneth, there's like Caneth Marketplace forum, and I just posted on that forum. I said, hey, I'm looking for a couple, level 34 shard. I'm willing to trade, some essences for it. And I got a couple of takers, and that was great. So resistance 12, healing amplification 61, and insightful magical sheltering 18, all good stuff. The epic torque is the same as it has been for many levels. The legendary Pansophic circlet is the same as I showed before. This is new, so I disjuncted that and added Evocation Focus 6 to that. I used to have Evocation Focus on the shard, but I decided to change up what was on the Shard of Power to what you see, and moved Evocation Focus over to the goggles. There wasn't really anything else that was even, even moderately helpful, so I just, that's, long term I definitely want something better than this, but this is what I could do on Northwynd. It's just the Evocation 6, and then I have it slotted up with a decent augment there, the Sapphire of Crushing Waveguard. That's been there for a while. The armor hasn't changed since last level. And the Epic Braces of Wind still got that. I talked about it last level that, I wouldn't really want to keep this long term, but, it's what I got on Northwynd. So there's still some stuff that's helpful, but, definitely would like to have something better, like maybe a Slave Lord's Craftable, for example, if I wasn't going with Legendary Green Steel. I do have Legendary Green Steel on Gingerspyce, but that's more of a long-term project, and a shorter-term interim, very nice piece of gear is a Slave Lord's Craftable in the wrist slot. The ring is something new too, also a power level 34 shard there that I traded for. Now it's got Constitution 15, False Life 57, so the False Life on the Pansophic Circlet is redundant. I just didn't have anything else to put there. And Insightful Physical Sheltering 18, slotted up with the Topaz of Power 250. The boots are the same as they have been since level 18, so just again a convenient source of striding and ghostly. Got some dex and a mythic boost on there too. The Blurfinger gloves is the same. Really, this was a convenient place to put lesser displacement. I also benefit from the efficient Meta Magic Maximize 1 now that I don't have it crafted on my trinket. The Legendary Spinneret. Great source of quality spell focus mastery +2 to the DC of all my spells, and got some universal spell lore, very nice on the Druid. The Druid does so many different damage types that it's nice to have a universal type of spell lore. And then I have cold lore or ice lore for my cold spells to really amp up my Creeping Cold and Greater Creeping Cold and Ice Storm, for example. The legendary Thrummingspark Cord, the reason why I chose this quest is because this item drops from here, and if I wasn't going with green steel, then this item is definitely one that I would want to use. But I'm using the 5-piece legendary green steel set on Gingerspyce, but that is a really long-term project, and if I wasn't going with that, like I said, I would definitely recommend this item. Has really high stacking, glaciation, and magnetism. That's an enhancement bonus, which is different than the sort of standard spell power bonus, which is an equipment bonus. So for example, if you look at the potency on the legendary Pansophic Circlet, it says passive 131 equipment bonus, and just like the glaciation here on the Wild Frost, it says passive 202 equipment bonus to cold spell power. This is an enhancement bonus. There aren't very many enhancement bonuses to spell power in the game, so that does stack with almost everything. So that's big stacking glaciation. And I think I said this last episode, but to put that number into perspective, that 202, Maximize provides 150 spell power, and then Empower another 75. So that's a total of 225. So this alone is almost as much as Maximize and Empower combined. So that is very significant stacking spell power. Slotted up with a Diamond of Strength +6. That's actually different. I think I had the death... actually, I'm not sure if that's different, but I wanted a little bit of strength in there, so I wasn't having to cast Bull Strength, and I wasn't getting encumbered very easily. The legendary Silver Thread Cloak is a great source of wisdom and insightful evocation focus. Remember, on the Druid, evocation is by far and above the school you care about most. There's a few other spells from a couple other schools, but evocation really is the hallmark of a caster Druid. This is also my source of physical sheltering. Big physical sheltering 50. The fortification is redundant, and the Topaz of Greater Evocation, and that does stack with other sources of evocation bonus. The legendary Giant's Platter hasn't changed from last episode. Lots of good defensive stats in there. This is my source of magical sheltering, high natural armor, high vitality, high protection. Mythic Boost 2 and slotted up with the Good Luck +2. Added the Alchemical Shield ritual there, as I talked about last time. And the Legendary Wild Frost is the same as last episode. So they've already, since last episode, they've previewed Tiefling to the Lamania server, so I can talk about Tiefling a little bit, and I can definitely tell you that on Gingerspyce I am going to change to Tiefling for my final build. One of the interesting enhancements that a Tiefling can get in its racial tree is to substitute its fire spell power for acid or cold or electric spell power, and so I'm going to go with Tiefling and use the fire spell power to substitute for cold spell power, and that will allow me to use the Wild Flame, the legendary Wild Flame, which is exactly like the Wild Frost except the stats are for fire, and instead of Conjuration Focus 8 it has Evocation Focus +8, and so that will give me an additional +2 Evocation over what I already had. So I will be switching to Tiefling and switching to legendary Wild Flame. What I'm going to do about Ice Lore, I don't know. I'm not going to be using, I might just stick with this 15% universal. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of changes to gear, I'm sure, when our new expansion Sharn comes out later this spring. Anyways, this is where Northwind's gear ended up this life. A lot better than ended up with in the first series, that's for damn sure. I'm pretty pleased with the way the gearing turned out overall. Definitely would like to make some changes to it in the long term, but in the short term, for purposes of this project, I am pleased with where it is. Let's take a look at the feats. You get 2 feats at level 30. For my epic feat, I chose Epic Damage Reduction. It gives me a +10 stacking physical resistance. This is a tanky build, so hell yeah, I'll take that. And then for my Scion feat, I chose Scion of the Plane of Earth. And I have some information in my build post where my feats are listed, where it says, why did I choose Earth? And I talk about this choice versus some other choices that a caster druid could make. And really, it kind of just boils down to, Earth or water or air or fire. And so, a more traditional caster would probably go with air, because that gives a big bonus to evocation. It's +40 evocation, but here I get +40 DC of conjuration, not a big deal for me. +2 to all other spells. So you would get functionally 2 higher DCs to your evocation, like your earthquake, with air. But I went with this because I am a higher defensive caster, and this has big 20 PRR. And then it has a little bit extra acid damage, which helps, my 2 dots, Enveloping Swarm, Creeping Doom, and then my other acid spell would be Storm of Vengeance. So I like Scion of the Plane of Earth because it's tankier, but like I said, a more traditional caster would probably go with air, but fire is a decent choice too. And then, like I said, in the link to my build post, water would be good for like maybe a more casual player who would really like to get the the big spell points that comes from that. Although I think that the water is kind of a weaker choice, but if you're not trying to do high demand content, then water could be a perfectly reasonable choice. So that's where the feats are. I'm going to talk about some of my conclusions of the series, but I'm going to do that while I am doing the quest. So I've already soloed this on R1, I think starting at level 28, maybe 29, I'm not sure, one of those two. So I'm going to try soloing it on 2 skulls. This will be my first attempt at doing this solo on 2 skulls. I am a little bit worried about mana. Mana was always tight when I was soloing on R1. I'm hoping now that I'm level 30 that I can manage it. We'll see. Oh, let's go ahead and do the both of the Yugo pots because because we can. We're gonna do that spell power pot, that spell power pot, And I wish my candies were off timer. I probably should have waited, but oh well. So, my thoughts on the series as a whole. I was very pleased overall with the performance. You know, I really wasn't sure. Like I said in the beginning, I haven't taken a youngling tune into Reaper Quest before, and I really wasn't sure at the start like how I was going to be able to handle like soloing Reaper Quests. And you know, I was doing R1s right away at base normal level, and I really want to emphasize that because so much of the community is still doing, you know, Reaper Quests. I don't have that twisted in anymore, so I want to take that out. So much of the community is still doing Reaper Quests at Elite Streak level, and here I was on the second lifer doing Reaper Quests at base normal level for maximum Reaper XP. It's really important to try to get used to doing Reaper Quests at base normal level because that's where you get your highest Reaper XP. You doing it at Elite Streak level, you're losing 50% of your Reaper XP because you're too over the base normal level. So I was very pleased that I was able to solo Reaper Quests at base normal level on the second lifer. In fact, by level 5, as I mentioned earlier in the series, it was already too easy to do R1, so I was stepping it up to R2, and I even did some R3 solos, and that was really cool. I was also surprised at how helpful the wolf was in, you know, in heroics. I thought the wolf would be completely useless, but I, you know, just to, for curiosity's sake, I pulled it out and just, you know, with only one druid past life, I found the druid to definitely be helpful in R1s and R2s. At R3s, that was really about the limit. Beyond that, the wolf was just, you know, dead. Relegated to lever pulling, but yeah, I was pretty happy about that. I was pretty happy with the wolf, and I definitely, you know, have made some changes to my build post as a result of my experiences of this series, and made some comments about the wolf. Lost soul, I need those. Epics were definitely a lot harder, and I hadn't really considered because I haven't spent a lot of time doing epics. Oh, here's something I want to show you. So I think I mentioned this early in the series at least once, that Charm Animal does work on vermin, like spiders and scorpions, for example. And spiders and scorpions have jack for saves. So, like, even if you're doing like a legendary R10 and you don't really have the highest DCs, like, your Charm Animal is going to charm, like, scorpions and spiders, like, without fail, unless they're, you know, like a one of the champions. There's like 3 different champions that is immune to charms. I can't remember which ones, but I think like yeah, I can't remember. But in any event, and I just want to demonstrate, like, you can charm spiders in Legendary Reapers. So we'll just do that just for fun. Let them fight it out. Okay, these druids are aggroed on me for some reason, so I guess we're gonna have to just deal with them, huh? Salt Ray is a good way to stun most mobs. They're not doing too much to that Plague Reaper, but you know what, they can fight it out. So, back to epics. You know, I really come to realize that epics not such a good place for Reaper XPing, because the level the differential uh, in heroics, elite streaking is 2 over base normal level, but in epics, elite streaking is what you could be 4 over base normal level and still get bravery bonus. So trying to do them functionally 4 levels lower than what I was used to doing was really challenging. And I did, I was pleased with the performance early on. Like, when I was doing the web flagging stuff, I didn't have any problem with that. In fact, it was easier this go around versus the first life, even though I was doing 2 levels lower, because I had my epic destinies filled in. It ended up being easier. But once I got the giant hold, like I was saying, that was like serious wake-up call. Stun him with the Sol Ray. Ooh, he saved. Let's throw down an earthquake. That's a tough guy right there. Giant hold was tough. Was really tough, and that was really the low point of the series for me. I really struggled through it. After that, it actually wasn't so bad. But I didn't do a lot of questing, a lot of epic questing after that. I was getting a lot of my XP from in other ways, like through farming gear, and I joined some other groups. I wasn't doing a lot of soloing, so I certainly wouldn't recommend, a youngling version of this build. Try to solo, epic Reaper quests. I showed that you can, but it's definitely by the time I got to giant hold, it was kind of a slog. But before that wasn't so bad. Ooh, this guy hurts. Can we stun him? He doesn't want to stun. Do the creeping cold, the greater creeping cold. Wow, he doesn't want to fall. He doesn't want to stun. Can we blind him? We can kill him. Oh my god, I just ran out of displacement scrolls. I can't believe that. Oh well. Oh, there is something else I need to show. And that is my twist, now that I have an extra twist of fate at level... I'm gonna die. At level 30. These twig blights are a pain in the butt. Twist of fate. So I twisted in a point of wisdom, a point of constitution, and so it should be even when I'm in Reaper mode. The con is even, and the wisdom, I don't have any wisdom in my Reaper trees, but I had 3 points of con in my Reaper trees, so it brings con to an even, and wisdom to even, so that's why I chose a point of wisdom and constitution. Your twists are a great place to even out your stats if you need. Ooh, let's see, I've still got my bauble, so let's try to do one more fight. Oh, those freaking druids, they use their gust of wind and they blow out my stuff. Don't like that. Blow out my earthquake. Can't have that. Uh-oh. Getting low. Time to go back to shrine. Yep. How far did I make it around? Still got another fight or two before I go up the middle. Which means I'm not going to be going into the end fight with a full mana bar. That is scary. But we still got 14 charges left on the Shard Trinket of Mnemonic Enhancement. I had to use a couple of charges of that in that end fight for to curse this guy. So, you know, in addition to having died once in there, you know, even though I went in there with a full mana bar for the end fight, like that took everything I had and then 2 charges of that thingy. So functionally 2 major pots. So there's no tomorrow on Northwynd, so I'm not afraid to use that mnemonic trinket up. As many charges as we need. Actually be posting this video right away. It's the only video where I'll be posting it in damn near real time. I don't want to... That group didn't even aggro on me. Interesting. Oh, now they did. This is going to be fun. This is going to be scary. Filan Reaper, I think's got to go. Lost Soul, yoink. And now straight up the middle. I'm going to use up all my mana clickies, so I'm going to need it. Straight up the middle, careful not to aggro that group over there. That's what they're for. Smoke them if you got them, that's what they used to say in the army. Yeah. I used to be in the army. I've revealed that before in my videos, though. It was a long time ago. I've been out for 20 years. 21 years, actually. Just reserves, though. I don't want to overstate that either. It's just in the reserves. Why are my boots off? Alrighty. Drink another one of those. Another one of those. This guy's a pain because he heals himself. Take out these peripheral druids. Ooh, lost soul. Hell yeah. Oh, there's another wave. Damn it, Jim. Time to use the shard trinket. That's okay. That's what it's for. And another. And maybe another. Oh, a couple charges. So that's that. Real tight on the mana there. So not able to solo it with my basic resources, but had to consume some extra stuff. But was able to pull it off. That was pretty cool. So where would I go from here? Well, I actually have a write-up at the conclusion of the first series that talks about like what you could do from, you know, like if you're not really sure. Like this series is meant for, you know, newer players, and if you're not really sure what to do when you get to 30, you know, there are lots of options. You can do one of the varieties of reincarnation. You can true reincarnate, epic reincarnate. You can stay at epic levels or legendary to try to get scoop up some big Reaper XP out of the legendary quests. And so I'm going to be adding a new conclusion to the journal for the Northwynd 2 series. And so, you know, if you're not really sure what you want to do, you can check out you can check that out. You can check out the journal, the companion journal of the series. It's linked in my build post. And as always, if you have any comments about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if you have any questions about my build, you can respond to my build post in the Druid forum.